This is the ATEM CCU controller for cameras, as I've shown in a previous video. This is the working model of it. These are now in production, and here you can see this is what it's doing, and it's hunting for an ATEM. I don't have the ATEM plugged in at the moment. As you can see, there's nothing in the back here in the network connector. You can see all I've got is the USB control, because I'm going to be showing you the terminal output shortly. So on the side here we have this is an LED to show you power, but it also goes when it's communicating with the ATEM, it flashes very bright, so you can tell when things are talking between the two of them. Currently, because there's no ATEM, it's going through and cycling through, attempting to connect to the ATEM. Also on the back here we have power in, so you can either power it from the USB, as I'm doing it here, or you can power it in through just a from 6 volts to 14 volts, I think the spec is. Anyhow, so that's just a normal in DC connector. It's got the thinner pin as compared to the Blackmagic connectors. So they use the same size, but the Blackmagic uses a thicker pin. This uses a thinner pin. And you also might notice there's a button here. I'll talk about that later on, but that it's like a shift button, but it allows you to do setups, and it also allows you to use the 4 knobs or the 8 knobs in a painting configuration. I'll talk about that at some other stage, but just for the moment I'm just going to plug in the network connector, and in theory it's going to get through in the right way. This thing should connect, and there it is, connected. And you're going to ask yourself, why is it got red, green and blue LEDs on? Well, that's because currently on the ATEM that it's just connected to, the program row has got camera 1 on it, the preview row's got camera 2 on it, and if you go and have a look at the aux bus has got camera 3 on it. So that's why it's showing you this first camera's on the program row, the second camera's on the preview row, the third camera is currently selected on the aux bus. This is currently programmed so that as you push any button on here, it will actually select that camera on the aux bus. You'll see as you hold it down, it goes magenta, because that's the blue and the red combining. You hold down this one here, cyan, that's the green and the blue combining, and then of course we just go to camera 3 position, camera 4 position. Now this is also currently selected to return to a default input once you release, so you can preview the camera by pushing the button down and releasing, and it'll go back to a predetermined input, which I tend to use the program out. But again, we'll talk about that more in a later video. I'm just going to very quickly just cover this this particular application. And if I go up to the ATEM, I'm just going to switch between. Well, I'll just do a cut between the two of them over here. You can see I'm cutting, and of course, if you see me cutting, you'll see the tally lights are changing accordingly. So everything that the ATEM's doing, you're getting down in here. If we go over to the camera, I'll just quickly show you the iris control. So I can turn the iris control up and down, and if you have a look up here, you'll see the iris is moving. This is in fine mode. If I actually go and hold my finger on, push down the black button and turn the iris, you'll see that's now in coarse mode. And the same applies to, that's fine mode for camera 2, and that's coarse mode for camera 2. And something else interesting here, I can actually turn all these knobs using all my hands, turning all these knobs, and you see everything all works at the same time. So you're not just limited to just trying to trim camera 1 and not being able to trim any other camera at the same time. So here we're actually tweaking all the knobs. I can tweak all the knobs. These are the irises at the moment, and they all work at exactly the same time. And I tried putting an elastic band around all 4 of these and turning them all at the same time, and they all worked. And I'll do the blacks. This is camera 1 blacks. You can see that's controlling the blacks. Again, this is fine. I can hold the button down. There's coarse. There's camera 3 coarse, or camera 3 fine, and camera 4. I'm going to sign off now, but just one thing I should let you know is that all 4 of these buttons are all totally programmable within the setup, and that setup mode can be achieved by, let me just go up here and just go over here, and here I'm running the terminal program. You can see this is here running. When it starts up, you can see it gives you a quick brief description of what settings are: local IP, ATEM IP, software version, serial number, MAC address. Tells you what if you're using what route you're using. Can be either an ATEM aux bus, or it can be a Blackmagic video hub. Also, the coarse and fine adjustments of the irises and the PEDs are all programmable. More on another video, as well as the LED brightnesses, because sometimes you don't want these to be too bright because they affect your vision when you're trying to camera match. You don't want to be burning your eyes out. Also, the LED on the back here is variably bright. And before I mentioned about this LED changing brightness, you can see it flashing brighter. Let's see if I can get in there. That's actually showing you when it goes brighter. It's showing you the incoming data from the ATEM, and that's probably best shown if I just on the ATEM just go over here to switcher and just get the fader. If I just rock the fader backwards and forwards, you can see I can see it much better with my eye than yeah. So you can see that it's flashing. So if you ever have a problem and it's not flashing, it means there's something not talking to something on the ATEM. But that would normally show up with these LEDs. You can see both of them up there at the moment because I've got both of them up because of the fader. The thing with the setup here, this just shows you everything plus the menu items. And in another video I'm going to show you this feature, which is the Shift C feature, and it comes into this configuration mode, and here you can set the local and ATEM IP addresses. Let's have a look here. You can set the camera sources, so if I go into there you can see I can select camera A, camera B, camera C, camera D, CCU, A, B, C, D. The CCU positions are labelled as letters because you don't want them mixed up with the actual camera numbers, which are a separate thing. You can do the default inputs, which is where the toggle button will return to when you take your finger off. The router type is where you can select it between an ATEM aux bus, none if you don't want a router control, and a video hub. So we just leave it on there. I'll go back and show you more on this. So these are just the other things: router buses, router sources if they're different to the camera inputs. This is where you can toggle or latch the button, so you can actually just push the button down, take your finger off, and it'll stay on that camera, which is what I call a latch. Or in the mode that I'm using now, it can be push the button and return to a default source on release. This is where you set the LED brightnesses and the power LED brightness, and these are where you can set the coarse values for iris, of course iris fine, pedestal coarse, pedestal fine, and then we've got a whole lot of things that are going to come in later on, which I'll talk about. So I haven't yet done the advanced mode yet with the painting, and with in advanced mode you can actually then step through and be able to control your shutters, your gain, colour temperatures, and all the other minor adjustments that you would do. But that's all going to be saved for another video. And as we unplug the, first of all, let's get a focus, and as we unplug the ATEM, you'll see it's going to, oh okay, it's not going to tell us. Normally it'll tell you that it's been disconnected, but it appears it doesn't want to do that. So it's over and out from me.